I want to move over to our next talk, which is going to be about orchestration. And I'm very excited today to be joined by Jonah, who is one of the principal engineers at Gentoro, and Hakki, who is, Hakki is the principal engineer. Jonah is the head of product development. So guys, welcome. Jonah, you're joining us. I guess you just moved to San Francisco. Hakki, you're in Taiwan, you said, in Taipei. So thanks for staying up late, I'm assuming, your time. Like, what is it, 2 in the morning?
1:30 a.m.
1:30 in the morning?
Yep.
Awesome. All right, Jonah, your slides up so I can put them on the stage?
Yep, just give me 1 second. Here we go. Can everyone see my screen?
We can. All right, well, take it away, buddy.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thanks for having us. Also wanted to congratulate Fred and the 𝗹𝗲𝗿 team. I saw that they just announced a pre-seed funding round. So really congratulations on that. And also thank you for the great presentation. So today we're going to introduce a real MCP use case. We called it automating actions for Slack interactions to get some alliteration there. And we can start with some personal introductions. So my name's Jonah. I do product development here at Gentoro. A lot of my time is spent with customers who are experimenting with MCP, but struggling to get to production. And with me today, I have Hakki. So Hakki, if you want to introduce yourself quickly and we can get into it.
Yeah, thanks, Jonah. And hello, everyone. My name is Hakki, and I'm an engineer at Gentoro. I'm also the technical project lead for this custom integration. Yeah. Over to you, Jonah.
Awesome. Hakki, that was a very humble introduction. Sorry. Hakki is actually one of the smartest engineers I know. So we're super excited to talk today about Gentoro. So just from a high level, what is Gentoro? When people ask me that, the simple answer is that Gentoro is the MCP layer for our customers. We generate composable MCP tools and servers from any API, and then secure and manage those tools at their runtime. So agents connect on one side, enterprise systems like Slack, HubSpot, and Notion connect on the other. And Gentoro provides the runtime that makes those connections reliable, secure, and production ready. So if we want to break that down a little further, we break that mission into 3 parts. So first is build. We generate and refine MCP tools directly from APIs or specs, allowing people to iterate faster and have less boilerplate. Second is security. So we give governance out of the box, authentication, role-based access control at the tool level, encryption, audit trails. And third is manage. So we have a runtime that hosts, executes, caches, and monitors all those tools at scale. MCP gives you the protocol. You give us your internal or external application, and Gentoro gives the MCP tools and the practical runtime layer that helps you get from prototype to production. And as I mentioned at the beginning, today we're going to talk about a real use case. So the customer story we're going to focus on today is one of our clients runs a B2C platform allowing the public to book studio recording sessions with the 200 musicians that they employ on their staff. Every single one of those musicians lives in a single channel. You're probably asking what's the purpose of that channel. It's actually a catch-all. So musicians use it for casual conversations, complaints about product bugs, recording equipment problems, and even HR issues. So in other words, it became the place for everything. That means more than 200 messages a day, spanning every topic imaginable. Real issues like the mic is broken in Studio 3, gets buried between chatter and venting, and operations had no system to triage those issues. The related context for those messages actually lived in HubSpot or Notion, which is completely separate from Slack. So that's the environment that we were tasked to fix. So just before the demo, here's a quick diagram showing you how we did so. So step 1, Slack message triggers a Lambda that's routed to the Gentoro toolbox. That toolbox in turn applies reasoning to classify the message. Is it a HR problem? Is it a product bug? Or is it a studio issue? Based on that classification, different actions can be triggered. For example, if it's a product issue, a ticket will be created in Notion, tagging in the appropriate member from the team. If it's a sales HR problem, a ticket will be created in HubSpot, also tagging in the appropriate person. Following that, a structured summary will be sent to the right Slack subchannel. And all of this is visible and configurable in the Gentoro Studio, which provides the UI for runtime management. So, in the previous world, what used to be an unstructured fire hose of complaints became structured cross-system workflows that MCP tools should act on. So you guys have, probably heard enough of me talk, and I want to pass it over now to Hakki to show you what this looks like in practice.
All right, thanks, Jonah. And let me share my screen because I need to switch some windows. Can you see my screen right now? I guess so, right?
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay, yeah. Before we jump into the demo, I'd like to give you an overview of Gentoro Studio, which Jonah just mentioned about, that is built on top of Gentoro runtime. This studio basically allows you to manage your MCP, to generate MCP toolboxes, obviously, and manage them, and as well as generate and manage your tools. So for the demo purpose, of course, I already created this music integration toolbox. And we have a couple of ways that you can basically use any toolbox. We have integration for Cloud Desktop, TypeScript, or HTTP streamable MCP. And here, and obviously, for this specific use case, we needed integration for Slack to observe for the messages, incoming messages for specific channel, and take actions on creating tickets in Notion or HubSpot, or as well as basically acknowledging musicians' message and sending corresponding follow-up messages or notifying specific users. So these integrations basically done while you create the MCP toolbox. So I'm not going to go over that right now. So you can add more integrations. So we have all these different types of applications here. And let me take you through the tools right now. So the way, once you create a toolbox, basically this tools will be empty. The way we create tools, actually, you can use our built-in integration tools. Like, for instance, we have already 20 tools for Notion and 5 for HubSpot and over 100 tools for Slack. And if any of these tools are not generated, actually Gentoro is able to generate it on the fly to you. And it will basically show it to you. For instance, like, let's assume this is not an already generated tool, then Gentoro will be actually generating this tool to you and show the code. So you can also change languages. This is a little bit of previous version of Gentoro right now. So other than Groovy, right now we also support Java, and we are basically constantly adding new languages. But the cool part of this, actually, and the most powerful part of this is the generate part, obviously. So you enter your prompts and all the use cases that Jonah kind of summarizes. Like, for instance, show you the tools actually generated for this purpose. So you basically give a role play for this tool, this powerful orchestrator tool. And it's like a classification assistant for a music tech platform. And you define the responsibilities, and you can also define whatever the classified message priority levels should be, and also some categories and actions based on those categories. And all these happens, like here we also have a couple of different parts. I'm not going to go over all of them, but the bullet point basically means that the initial prompt you use to generate all these tools. And once these tools are generated, actually Gentoro is able to pick up all the corresponding tools automatically. For instance, based on this runbook, so-called runbook, Gentoro knows that actually it needs to pull Slack reply message tool to acknowledge users basically, and send messages to the channel to send corresponding follow-up messages to channels and create tickets in different applications basically. And all these are done automatically. And I think this is pretty much about this. Yes, so I can quickly show you a demo. And can you see my? You cannot see my slide. Let me reshare. Excuse me. Here we go. I think you should be able to see it right now, right? Okay. Here, let's assume that this is our test account, basically, Gentoro's test account. So we use this for demo purpose. Let's assume that this is the musician channel that actually musicians keep their post their messages for classification of that too. So let me give you a little bit. So also show you the background, what's going on in the background. I'm sorry about this. Okay. So let's assume that the musician has a problem with the client session. Let's say client didn't show up. Client did not show up in the session. Can you help me to contact him? So what happens right now is basically the Slack triggers that webhook Jonah mentioned in the Lambda, and Lambda sends message to the Gentoro runtime over MCP, and it triggers this classify Slack message tool, and I mentioned here, which is the orchestrated tool, and it basically classifies the message and take actions, corresponding actions based on the classification. And it's going to send an acknowledgement message to the user. And as you can see here, I understand there's an issue with the client not attending the session. I'm creating a support ticket for this. And let's assume that this Gentoro test user is one of the stakeholders for this kind of issue. Then you need to have this is classified as a customer support assistance and prioritizes a medium priority. And the client did not attend the session. So this specific category of issue needs to create a HubSpot ticket. So we can see it from here. Excuse me, I couldn't see that. Can you see it here? Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm not logged in. Oh, yeah, here. Okay, I'm logged in here. You can see client did not attend session. So this is the corresponding Slack, musician Slack's message. And here in the background, actually, it is also giving you the reasoning behind it and what kind of actions actually it's taking, etc., etc. And I think this is pretty much about the demo. And over to you, Jonah.
Awesome. Yeah, we love to answer any questions that the audience or Shannon and team have on this use case.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great use case and it makes a lot of sense. I'm really curious about the product a bit more. Maybe you could just give us a little bit of the story of the company and the product. Is it available? Is it a SaaS? I couldn't quite tell from the demo if that's software or SaaS. Is it open source or is it available on a subscription or something? Maybe just tell us a little bit about the company, Jonah, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Well, we were actually kind of after opening up the floor to questions, we were going to talk a little bit about that, but I think we can kind of skip forward. So we were founded a little bit less than a year ago. We were originally a data masking company, but then when we saw MCP come out, we decided it was too good of an opportunity to pass up on. We have the early version of our product already available. So after this, I'll share a QR code for people to sign up. For personal use, it's completely free. We are working on a paid version for enterprises, so more to kind of come on that later.
Darren, did you have any questions for Hakki on just sort of what was happening there in the background?
No, not really. Yeah.
I mean, it made a lot of sense. So, Hakki, when you showed those tools and integrations, are those integrations that you guys have a kind of an existing rich library of in Gentoro? Like, how rich is that library? Are those, can I just bring my own MCP servers? Are these MCP servers that the client or the user kind of brings to it? How do I bring my own integrations or create new integrations, or do I expect you guys to create all those integrations in the catalog?
Yeah, actually, we initially we started building our own tools, and in a formal way, like do the generation. Basically, we use also Gentoro's own capabilities to generate tools. Let's say that Slack reply message, as I mentioned during the demo, if it doesn't exist, so we generate it, and if it's a very common tool to be potentially used by many use cases, then we just add it to our library. But as I mentioned, if it's not, there are like a couple of ways that you can add more tools, your customized tools. And you can, it's not necessarily, for instance, like you can take a couple of cases like reply message or notify a Slack channel. You can combine these use cases, create a single tool, So that's possible at Gentoro. So to answer your question, basically we have built-in tools already. That's how actually that LLM, the powerful orchestrator LLM tool I mentioned, it is able to pick up all these tools because it's listed in our library and it knows the context of the tasks and actions and what those tools are supposed to do. So it basically pulls those tools from the library we already have, and if it's not, any of the tools necessary actually to take action doesn't exist, basically it is just guiding you to like, okay, I'm creating an empty tool, like kind of like a initial based, and then you generate it inside Gentoro. And we have other capabilities, as I said, in the studio. Once you generate, of course, these things
so like I would bring my own API effectively, like some API code, and then you would generate a tool from that API code using MCP, or?
Well, currently we support open API generations. So if you have an open API spec, and you can basically just paste it into Gentoro while you are doing the integration, and it is able to generate tools for your API use cases.
Are those tools like, so what if I have an MCP that my team's already built? Can I bring that MCP into Gentoro?
We don't do that, but yeah, we have received such requests actually for a couple of potential customers, and we are thinking to support that too. But this is a big space, and there are like sky's the limit. You can build things for this, and we are thinking to support that too. Yeah.
Awesome. Jonah, did you want to share that link so people can find the company and find the product?
Yeah, of course. Give me 1 second. Go back to screen share. Here we go. Yeah, so as I mentioned, we have Playground that's completely free for personal use. You can also join our Slack community if you have questions, and then you can connect with us on LinkedIn as well. If the QR codes don't work, it's just Jonah Perry on LinkedIn, and happy to follow up with everyone after.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. It was great having you today on the talk. Darren, anything else before we wrap up?
No, I was wondering, like, your guys' perspective on developing MCP servers. Of like, how much do you think is going to be like? How far do you think MCP servers will go in terms of like the amount of code or the complexity of building them, or really kind of see a future where it's much more like low code or automatically generated or AI creating it? Like there's some analogies I could say of like when like mobile first came out, it's like, oh, this is going to be really difficult. So people like, there was companies that would like generate mobile sites for you, but then over time is like, oh no, like you just have to develop it all. It's like, do you guys have any like inclination or feeling of where this is going? Of like, is this going to be a huge realm of tons of new development, or it's going to be generated or low code or AI or whatever?
Yeah, I can take this, Jonah, if you don't mind. Yeah. So I like to actually, if you don't mind, can I share my screen, Shannon? Yeah, thank you very much. So I'd like to show, actually, that's a great question, Darren. Thanks for that. And I think this aligns with what we are focusing on right now. So from time to time, we focus on different parts of, Gentoro, runtime, and studio. And up until recently, we wanted to optimize and improve the capabilities of our so-called assistant. So what we want is, and what we envision actually in the future, I think everything is going to be like very verbal and conversational. So you don't really want to, for instance, if your code has a problem and you don't want to like manually debug it basically, but you want some kind of guidance. For instance, like an assistant basically tells you, oh, there might be problem in this part and that part, or even automatically fixes it. There are technologies doing that, like Cursor, for instance, in the first presentation mentioned. So this is something we focus on right now. Like we want an assistant is actually capable of doing multitask at the same time. For instance, let's say this is a very comprehensive description. Then I want this description to be very like condensed. So let's say summarize the description. Description of the tool, and then this is basically started running. And let's say I wanna add a new parameter, right, for pagination. Add a new parameter for pagination, and let's say I don't have any tests to test this tool, right? So let's say add some tests. So as you can see, like this is running only in parallel, and basically this is I think where the agentic actually development also goes, right? You basically throw up a problem or whatever your request and prompt is, basically starts to work on it and give you the output later on, right? So here, for instance, yeah, it added this pagination, and also added the test, corresponding tests. But the cool part is, if you do this manually, then maybe you don't have the context of, let's say, your new parameters, etc., right? But with this all these LLM power, actually you have all the context. For instance, as I said, add the new parameter for pagination, but I didn't mention that that is needed for the test, right? But it automatically grasps it, for the test cases. So it adds the pagination for the test too. So I think all these like shared contexts in the future, that should be like done via like this kind of conversational manner, So, and that's actually our goal also, like in the future, when you started managing or generating or editing tools, you basically do not need to see any code, or at least low code, So
Yeah.
that's where things are going actually.
So then it's kind of like you've designed this as like, this is effectively like this is a way to, kind of no code, low code, whatever, develop MCP servers, to what degree of like the end user, like of like, developers would use this or a business person, it's like, how far do you think it gets away from an actual technical person who would understand the code?
That is totally depends on what you want to achieve, right? I think everybody can leverage that from different contexts. Like for developers, that's a big boost up, right? Like for your development phase, actually, if you have this kind of powerful tools. I mean, in Gentoro, as engineers, we use these powerful tools like Cursor, Cloud, and everything. It's a big productivity boost. But let's say you are a product manager and you want to prototype something, and you don't have any backend knowledge, right? So how you develop that, right? You need engineers to do that. But with all these MCP capabilities and as a protocol and all these like companies working on over top of MCP protocol like Gentoro, there are a couple of others, of course. So they're trying to solve this, like ease your job, right? So you can, it doesn't matter like your title or your function. I think it's about like everybody can essentially leverage this, right? Like, so it's about like how you utilize this and what kind of problem actually you're trying to solve, right? And in the future, I think these are going to be also very big product manager boosters too, right? And usually, in the conventional way, product managers need designers, engineers to give build some MVPs or even maybe some kind of prototype, right? So, but with these tools, you will be able to, as if you're a product manager, you'll be able to do that, right? And you can easily guide it and prompt it to do changes as you wish. And I think MCP's function here is like, it's a big, backend oriented definer, I would say. Maybe I'm not sure, but it gives you what is your like from protocol wise, what is your definition of actually technologies can interact with each other, right? Essentially, it's the thing, right? Your agentic applications and LLMs, it's a protocol in between them. And there are a lot of cool things that you can do. And we are, actually, we'd like to see this use case is a very simple use case, obviously. But in the future, of course, we'd like to tackle like much more complex, workflows, agentic workflows, and other kind of MCP integrations, I would say. I hope I answer your question.
I know it's good. It's fascinating. Who knows? We don't kind of know where these things are going. It's like the coding tools have gotten so incredibly good that AI can pump out so much of this stuff. Of who knows how much will be kind of just kind of prompting or clicking around versus actually getting into the guts of code. So it would be interesting to see how it turns out. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. I believe everybody is going to be leveraged from this. So that's my takeaway from
Well, guys, thank you all so much for joining us today. Fred, thanks for coming on. It was awesome. Congrats as well on the funding. That's exciting for you guys.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see you in London. And Jonah, Hakki, congrats to you as well, and look forward to seeing more of the product now that it's available. So everyone have an awesome day. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we will be back again next week.
Thanks for having us.
Take care.
Derek.
Thank you. Bye.